I'd like to call the January 16th, 2025 meeting of the full commission of NERC to order. Happy 2025. Let's begin with the pledge. Robert, would you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
New appointments to the commission.
I have a series of letters here, as is usually the case at the January meeting, but I have a letter from the mayor of Warren that he's appointing Courtney Harthum as his designee, and she serves as the clerk treasurer.
And all the mayors around here going, gosh, I wish I would have done that. Just joking, guys.
Bad job.
I know.
I have a letter from the Porter County Commissioners. I know Ed's here. Ed has an interesting history. He was here as a township trustee, having appointed himself, and now he's been appointed. He liked us so much, he's coming back as the Porter County Commissioner appointment. So that letter is with us. I have a letter from the Porter Township trustee appointing themselves as a member. Is it Hendren?
He called me and told me he couldn't make it for work today. Chris Hendren.
Well, that is an official letter. And then I have a letter from the town of Burns Harbor, an appointment letter from the council president. Is Nicole here? You're going to have to help me with the pronunciation.
Migliorini.
Well, thank you. Pretend I said that. That letter is in proper form as well. So I believe that with these, and to refresh your recollection, we only need under our enabling statute an appointing authority letter when there's a change. And it isn't an annual thing you have to do, but if you are the appointing authority and you're changing that, I need to know that, or just so we keep proper track of things. And then I think with these changes, we have a quorum.
I believe so. I can confirm that after roll call.
Let's move to roll call, Candace.
Kyle Allen, Dwayne Art, Jenny Byer, Thomas Black,
Present.
Austin Bonta,
Here.
Kevin Brightsky, James Burge, Robert Carnahan,
Here.
Bill Carroll, Tim Clayton, John Costas, Dinah Dubras,
Here.
Denise Ebert,
Here.
Bill Emerson,
Here.
Connie Grammarosa,
Present.
Jonathan Haley, Keisha Hardaway,
Here.
Bonnie Hawksworth, Vanessa Hernandez Orange,
Present.
Josh Huddleston,
Present.
Lori Hunt,
Here.
Justin Keel,
Present.
Scott Kingan,
Here.
Peter Land, John Matwishin,
Here.
Eddie Melton, Tom McDermott, Nicole Migliorini,
Here.
Wendy Miss,
Present.
Edward Morales,
Here.
Angie Nelson Deitch,
Present.
Randall Niemeyer, Courtney Partoon, David Phelps,
Present.
Linda Pompey,
Present.
Jim Pressel, Barb Regnitz, Lisa Rosenkrantz,
Present.
Rick Rifa,
Here.
Warren Schock,
Here.
Tom Schmidt,
Here.
Steve Spivard,
Here.
Gerald Sweats, Sharon Zuido,
Here.
Mary Tanis,
Present.
Jim Tunn,
Present.
George Topo,
Present.
Andy Vasquez,
Available.
C.J. Whitmer, John Yokich.
Here.
We have quorum, we have 31 in attendance.
Wow. Excellent. Thank you, everybody, for coming and attending. And a great way to start 2025.
One other comment about configuration of this, I should have mentioned is, the county surveyors by statute serve on this commission. We don't have to have appointing authorities.
Perfect. Okay, we will move to approval of minutes of the December 5th meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We will now move to the leadership, the portion of the meeting. Ty.
Great. As you might know, if you haven't been on NERC, you may not know that we have an award that we give pretty much annually called the Norman E. Tufford Award. That's named after NERC's very first executive director when NERC was founded back in about 1965, 1966. And my predecessor, John Swanson, is here today. He had, I think, initiated that award to start with. John Swanson's here to help me introduce the recipient of this year's Norman E. Tufford Award. So, John, I invite you to come up and try to decide whether to do this. I guess we might as well say who it is and then let you introduce. This year's, I'm going to let John do the introduction, but Don, if you want to come on up. Don Ensign is the recipient of this year's Norman E. Tufford Award. You hear about
Ty already took the first part of my speech here, so. But it is worth noting, Norman E. Tufford was indeed the first executive director of NERC. Had a very distinguished career as NERC's executive director and as a town manager. It was appropriate that David Schaefer, former commissioner from Munster, got together with me back in 2011 and said we really should do something to honor Norm's memory, and also recognize commissioners, staff, and other people associated with NERC who've really done some extraordinary work over the course of the years in public service. And as you mentioned, this year's awardee is Don Ensign. Let me give you a little background. I don't have to share my notes because Don's list of accomplishments is just too long to memorize. But Don served in NERC for 13 years. Very active member of the board, served on the executive board and various committees. This while also serving, of course, as a elected official for the town of Hebron. 16 years on the town council of Hebron, 12 of which were as the council president. He currently serves as the president of the Indiana Dunes Tourism Board. He currently serves as the president of the Porter County Aging and Community Board. He's the current vice president of the Hebron Park District. He's the current vice president of the Veterans Memorial Parkway Commission, where he also serves as the chair of the Middle East Committee. He's the board member of the Sheriff Ethics Advisory Commission. He's a current vice president of the Hebron Redevelopment Commission, a past member of the Porter County Redevelopment Commission, a founding member of the Metropolitan School District of Boone Township, a past member and chair of the Hebron Board of Zoning Appeals, and past member of the Planning Commission. And then while I was doing some background for this presentation, I went to the Hebron website. I wasn't expecting to see Don's name on the council, obviously, since he had to step down. But sure enough, he's serving on the Technical Advisory Committee and the Stormwater Board. So I just can't keep that guy down. Ty and I both had the pleasure of having Don on the board. And I gotta tell you, Don used to contact me before the meeting and said, you know, I may be late. I'm coming right from work, but I'll be there. And sure enough, he would show up. But I realized later, though, that he was working full-time for a couple of steel companies along the lake shore, and then was doing consulting work for them. So he'd come right from work, come to the NERC meeting, still awake, must have caught a few wings in the afternoon before he had to go to Hebron for these various council and committee meetings he served on. And I also, how much sleep does he get by on? That's always a question for me. Of course, now in retirement, he's able to do all these things as well, so it's great to see. But Don's service has been recognized by Governor Holcomb. He was given the Sagamore of the Wabash Award several years ago, and I'm just extremely pleased that Don can be the recipient of this year's Norman Tupper Award. So, Don?
Can I just add just a real quick, just off the cuff comment too? Don, even his retirement, Don cares. And I think that is really, really significant. When I see him at events, he asks about NERC, about NERC's initiatives. He has stayed engaged even into his retirement. And I still remember when he invited me out to his town for a tour of Hebron, the passion that he had for his community and the way that he cared about the citizens that he served. So I just want to underscore how well deserved this award is. And congratulations, Don. I've recruited Tom.
Let me just stand there. Let's all right, very good.
Thank you, Tom.
Well, thank you very much. Really appreciate this. Having worked with both of you, it's been an honor. I still see a few familiar faces around the table here. Justin, David, Jim, Tom, Mr. Carnahan from Cedar Lake, who was always the cheerleader here. It was always a pleasure to be here. I highly enjoyed working with everybody, making the contacts. That's what's so important about NERC. The contacts you make for your communities and other communities. Won't use the word steal, but I will. As you talk with people here in this group, you find out what they're doing, say, wow, that's a great idea. I'm taking that back home and do something else. I always tried to be a voice for south of US 30, because sometimes we get forgotten south of US 30. And I always tried to be a voice here for that. And still, to this day, I keep fighting for south of US 30. So it's very important to us down there. We have so much great new growth going on in Hebron right now. My town is something that I've always loved and cared about. We have 286 new homes going in and another development coming. NERC is going to be very important for the transportation and for South County and everything else as we get into this. NERC helped us build our first comprehensive plan. The staff came down and led a program for us for our first comprehensive plan for Hebron. So NERC has always been very important to us. And thank you all very much.
And you're getting a grocery store.
And we're getting a grocery store. So thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I just want to say our planners at 32 Jenny Byron.
Hey, great to see you. And you know what, we do have, I know our names are out here, but to Dave's point, I think it's a good point. If we could just go around and introduce ourselves for all our new members who may not be able to see. Tom Germany, City of LaPorte.
Dave Hollenbeck, NERC attorney.
Jim Tunn, Chesterton Town Council.
Bill Emerson, Lake County Surveyor.
Wendy Miss, Clerk Treasurer, Town of Munster. Jenny Byer, Clerk Treasurer of the Town of Schneider.
Candace Eklund, Executive Assistant with NERC.
Josh Huddleston, Mayor Colbert.
Austin Banta, Mayor Portage. Scott King, President of the Town Council of Good News.
Linda Pompey, Council President, Town of Potawatomi Park.
Vanessa Hernandez Orange, Councilwoman for the City of East Chicago.
Lori Hunt, Clerk Treasurer, Town of Westerville.
Connie Grammarosa, LaPorte County Commission.
Steve Sweet, I'm here at the citywide.
Bob Carnahan, in my 10th term on the Cedar Lake Town Council.
Angie Nelson Dykes, Mayor of Michigan City.
Keisha Hardaway, Maryville Town Council.
Dinah Jones, President, Town Council, Michiana Shores.
Nicole Neal-Urini, Burns Harbor Clerk Treasurer.
David Phelps, President, Town Council, Town of Beverly Shores.
John Milkich, Lowell, Town Council member.
Warren Shaw, Town Council member of Trail Creek.
Sharon Sweeto, President of the Council for New Chicago.
Mary Tanis Dyer, Town Council.
Tom Black, Highland Town Council. Ed Morales, Porter County Commissioners.
George Topol, Union Township, Porter County.
Andy Vasquez, Porter County Council.
Rick Reifeld, Griffith Town Council President.
Matt Deitchley, Deputy Commissioner of LaPorte District of Minot.
John Mathewson, LaPorte County Surveyor.
Denise Siebert, Clerk Treasurer, Town of Wanata. Lisa Rosenkrantz, President of Lacrosse Town Council.
Tom Schmidt from the Town of Sherrill's Town Council.
Justin Keel, LaPorte County Council.
And Ty Warner, Executive Director of NERC.
Welcome to all the new members for 2025. Report of nominated committee, Ty Warner.
So on page 4 of your agenda packet is the slate that's been proposed for 2025. Nominated committee consisted of myself, Mr. Dermody, and Ms. Miss. So this is the slate of persons. They've all been contacted and have agreed to serve. So on page 4 of your packet, you'll see that list. And I guess you can see it for yourself. I don't necessarily need to read it off. But that is what is proposed, and we do need a vote of the full commission to approve this slate for 2025.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved, Mr. President.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Discussion.
Tom moved and Justin seconded.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations.
All right, congratulations to the new officers and the new executive board. And this means officially that there's a formal exchange of gavel now.
Yes.
to Wendy Miss, who functions as our new chair. So just a quick word about Mayor Dermody here. I think you all know him and know that he is a man of action. He doesn't beat around to take care of things. I'll just list one example. Is when we had the State Board of Accounts up here. That was largely from an initiative from Mayor Dermody, who heard the concerns of some of you all with your audits and all that, and took the bull by the horns and was very successful in getting the State Board of Accounts to pay us what turned out to be a very friendly visit, even though some of us were wondering how that would go. It was very good, and we had he did a fantastic job of what I got to witness was taking what could have been a conflictual situation and really carrying it through and making sure everybody was on board and able to understand each other and come to a positive outcome. And that summarizes my experience with Tom as chair over this entire past year and for your time as an officer before that. We've had fun in DC, we've had fun traipsing around all over doing NERC business, and I just want to thank him for his service. And we have an official, that's the gavel that stays. Yes. This is the gavel you get. And it's even removable, so you can use this.
All right, thank
you. They're coming up. Staff is coming up for the awkward photo. So.
Yeah.
Great.
As long as he knows how to use it.
Yeah, this technology is
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you, and thank you to everybody. It's truly been an honor. I'll take this with me too. It's been an honor to serve, and you're going to be in great hands in 2025. I would just ask you all to continue to throwing away the R's and the D's when you walk into the room here and do what's best for the residents. And I think NERC is important. It's an important part that I've learned about. So continue to focus on it, and I think good things will come. And watch out for Courtney Partham, because she's a 10 when I'm a 2. So I think this is the year of the clerk treasurers, and Wendy Miss will lead the way. So thank you all, and don't think I'm rushing out of here, but I do have a meeting at 10, so I love you all, but I'm leaving, so.
I've heard that one.
Wendy?
All right, Tom is done, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, very good, thank you,
Official transfer. That's great. Oh, that's awesome. Sorry, thank you all for your patience.
Excellent, thank you. All right, well, very exciting times, everyone. Our next item of business on the agenda is the presentation of the perfect attendance recognition, and I believe that's a Ty, he's still shaking hands over there, so.
I'm about to talk about perfect attendance as our chair is going.
Who's getting an award?
No. Just slipped out. You want to grab this quick and I'll start. Thank you, Justin.
Somebody.
God, grab this. That goes to Tom Dermody.
Yeah,
So Tom is our first perfect attendance award. These awards predate me, but it's been a fine tradition to carry on. And for those of you who are new at the commission and the rest of you who are not new are going to get very sick of hearing this again. But it's worth saying because I don't want anybody to feel bad as we give out these awards. So we have a full commission made up of 53 of you. 27 is the form, 53. That's a lot of folks. And as I always tell groups whenever I get asked about this, it seems like a huge number, but I think those of you who have been regular NERC participants can attest that it actually works really well. And I'm really pleased that I get to say that to folks when they look at me with incredulity that we have 53 board members. So that is the full commission, and as a full commission, that full commission meets 4 times a year, quarterly. And really the only expectation as a commissioner, if you are not on the executive board, and the executive board is everybody sitting up here, if you're not on the executive board, the only expectation is 4 times a year. So you shouldn't feel bad about these other super attendance awards, which I'm about to name first, which are for those that not only attended every single full commission meeting, but all the executive board meetings in between. So let me give some of these out and list some others. And I'm going to ask, so I'm not playing Phil Donahue for those of you of a certain age, or I don't know, Oprah or somebody more recently for somebody older. If I can ask you to just pass this around to the person. Bob Carnahan is our first awardee for perfect attendance for everything. I think the rest are up here, so it should be a little easier. So Tom Schmidt, congratulations. Thank you so much. Jim probably has racked up the most perfect attendance awards of any commissioner alive, with the possible exception of George Topol, who is another awardee. So I can ask you to just pass that around. And then Lisa Rosekrantz as well. So congratulations. And then we have some awards for those that attended all the full commission meetings. So again, if you're not on the executive board, that's all you're expected to do. Candy has the rest of these, so if you could see her afterwards to get your certificate. Jenny Beyer, thank you. Austin, I'll keep it down there, I'm looking in the wrong place. Austin Bonta, thank you as well. Ed Morales, thank you. And Lisa Crosens as well, but we already gave you the other one for everything. So thank you so much for all of those. And Candy, did I miss anybody? Was that? I think that's it. All right, thank you all for your participation in NERC. And again, I strongly encourage you to mark the dates on your calendar. I don't think they're in this particular packet, but we have sent them out a few times for the future commission meetings for 2025, so please mark them down. We do have several items, such as at least two of the agenda items on today's agenda require 3 of the items on today's agenda require a full commission vote, so it is very important for those 4. So thank you. That is the perfect attendance portion.
Very good. Thank you, Ty. And please, we want to encourage everyone to try and get that certificate. It would be nice to hand out a few more. The next item on our agenda is the result of the leadership committee meeting, which we had this morning. We had 2 pieces of business as well as a legislative initiative update for items that are before the federal government as well as the state government this session. So we talked about that. The first item that needs action approval is a proposed amendment to the 2025 budget. We passed the budget at the end of last year, However, we had some new information that came in, and it's in your packet. You can certainly review it. If you have any questions, you can ask myself, anyone on the leadership team, we talked about it this morning, or our financial officer, Talea. But can I have, we are recommending, the leadership committee is recommending this for approval. I ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
I've got Bob. Jim, would you like a second?
Sure.
All right, and Jim is a second. Very good. Any other discussion on this? Any questions? Can I have all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you very much. The budget amendments have passed. We appreciate that. The next item on the agenda was something that did take a little bit of time to come up with. Again, it is in your packet. We are recommending, the leadership committee is recommending this for approval. To go over a few of the highlights, it is the contract, the employment agreement with our executive director, Mr. Ty Warner. Generally, the agreement is similar to what we've seen in the past. There are a few things that I will note. This is a 3-year agreement with 3 years worth of projected rate increases at 5% per year. We have found that Mr. Warner's salary is good, but not as competitive as some of his peers, so we're trying to move him along there. We are doing consistent rate increases as a budgeting tool to make it easier not easier, but to help us better gauge where our finances are year to year. Things that have stayed the same, insurance, vehicle, professional memberships. We are also, we added his participation in the Lambda Alpha International Land Economics Society, retirement benefits, NARC, vacation, expense reimbursements, all pretty much stayed the same. On page 4 at the bottom, item number 8, we talked about, and this is something that's becoming, it seems, a standard in regional planning directors, and it was brought to our attention. This is a sabbatical. We're going to form, the leadership committee is going to form a group to talk about what this would look like. It's something that's interesting. It gives Ty a little time to get away for the betterment of the organization, and we're interested in doing this. So we put this into his agreement that he may be eligible for a paid sabbatical, not in 2025. We're going to formulate what that'll look like, and then in 2026. And then, of course, if he leaves, there's some other information in there about that. So, like I said, the leadership committee, we've spent a lot of time in discussion with this. We are moving forward with a favorable recommendation for approval for this 3-year executive director employment agreement.
And let's, he's going to get a 5% pay raise for the next 3 years, correct?
Correct.
And you need to start using your vacation.
That is true.
So,
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Bob. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Austin. All right, any additional questions or discussion on the topic?
I have
Very
a question
good.
over here.
Yes, go ahead, Andy.
How long is the sabbatical?
The sabbatical, it's not defined in the agreement, and it's something that the committee will talk about, but it could be up to 10 weeks.
Up to 10 weeks, okay,
Up to
thank
10
you.
weeks, yeah. And this would be, it would be something that's not done every year, of course. It would be something, Ty's been here 10 years, it would be probably every 10 years, this would be available to the executive director.
Okay, thank you.
Good question, thank you. All right, and with no other questions, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you very much, that moves forward.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Ty, I didn't say this, but it goes without saying, we think that you're doing a very good job, and we're doing what we can to keep you here as long as we possibly can.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to serve you guys.
The next item on our agenda is a report from the Transportation Committee, and that would be from Mr. Jim Tom.
So good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, Woody. The Transportation Committee met on Tuesday, January 7th. The committee heard a presentation from staff on the status of the Marquette Greenway, an approximately 60-mile off-road trail that extends through northwest Indiana along Lake Michigan from South Chicago to New Buffalo, Michigan. NERC is currently implementing portions of the trail in Gary, Portage, and Michigan City using RAISE grant funding. NERC was also a part of a team that was awarded a $20 million Lilly Endowment Grant to design and implement connections between the trail, South Shore stations, and local communities. NERC will receive $1 million to develop and implement a unified trail wayfinding plan. NERC staff presented a public comment report on the FY 2024-2028 Transportation Improvement Program, TIP, Amendment number 2404-1, 2404-2, and 2405, which can be found on page 13 of your agenda packet. The one action for consideration today is approval of Resolution 2501, which will adopt amendments 24041, 24042, and 24045 to the fiscal year 2024-28 Transportation Improvement Program, or TIP. The resolution and supporting materials can be found beginning on page 14 of the agenda packet. The Honorable Charles Bradsky will further enlighten us as to this action.
Commissioner Tunt, you were doing just fine. You could have kept on going.
I'll yield to you.
As Commissioner Tunt mentioned, on page 13 was a public comment report. Essentially, we did not receive any public comments. We did not receive any technical comments from the interagency consultation group. Again, that is on page 13. Moving on to the page 14 is the memorandum. I'm just going to basically touch on some highlights. The reason there's 3 different amendments into this resolution is because once they leave this body, if approved, once these amendments leave this body and go down to NDOT central office, they'll go in 3 different directions. One of them is a transit amendment, so that goes to the transit division at NDOT. One of them is for air quality purposes. One amendment has non-exempt projects on it. And that will go to the federal highway, which means federal highway needs additional scrutiny on those projects. So that'll take an additional month to get those 2 projects approved. And the third one is for exempt projects, so they are exempt from the air quality conformity process. And that's a much quicker timeline that goes straight to NDOT. And we have to break those up because otherwise everything gets really muddled down in NDOT central office. That's why there's 3 different amendments on there. If you have any other questions, I can go through and explain to you what was on those amendments. Suffice to say that I am the reason, this amendment is the reason why we have been doing so much clear cutting in the back here, and that the reason the paper prices or the paper costs in the budget went up. There is 150 projects in this amendment, so there's several pages with projects on them. And I did give you a brief breakdown of those projects on pages 14, 15, and 16. And then beyond that is the individual projects that were on the amendment. Are there any questions?
Are there any further questions or comments for Mr. Bradsky? Yes.
I want to thank you because we're looking ahead, and as you know, Dyer is looking for a pedestrian bridge across Route 30 and the CSX, and it's really going to help us not only with the Marquette plan, but many others. But I know other communities are looking forward to that too, so we're looking forward to it. But thank you.
Right, and going through that process begins with the NOFA process, or Notice of Funding Availability, that we put out every 2 years, which is essentially a call for projects. We just completed a call for projects, and those will be put into the next NOFA if selected, those applications. So,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Any further questions or comments?
If I could, just to add for the new folks here, just this seems like an awful lot, but just to underscore again, this comes through the Transportation Committee. There's a lot of give and take between your staffs and public works directors and things, and so and engineers. So it seems like a lot, but it's been thoroughly worked through and vetted before it gets to you. So just so you don't feel like you're hit with 100. What was it again?
150 projects.
Are there any other inquiries or comments? Hearing none, the Transportation Committee recommends the adoption of Resolution 2501.
So moved.
Second.
The motion, we have a second. Any additional questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Resolution 25-1 passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charles.
The next meeting of the Technical Planning Committee will take place on Tuesday, February 4, 2025, I believe, at 10 a.m. at NERC offices.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. And next on the agenda, thanks, Jim, for your report, is Matt down there. Matt and Dot, do you have anything new and exciting going on?
Always new and exciting.
We love hearing that.
So, as some of you might have heard, we have a new governor as of Monday. So, Governor Mike Cron was sworn in on Monday. With the new administration, oftentimes comes changes. So, there are some significant changes coming in just in terms of the structure. So, you may have already seen this in the news, but so Governor Braun has created the Office of Transportation Infrastructure, which will oversee NDOT, the DMV, Indiana Regional Development Authority, and Broadband Office. So in that, he has named Secretary Matthew Ugalor as the secretary of that division. So if you have not heard, he is a former state representative from several years ago, and I had a chance to meet him a couple weeks ago, and good guy who seems to really want to help keep things moving forward through. We also have new commissioners. So Mike Smith has moved on, and we have Ken Abernathy was named that commissioner just a few weeks ago. So Abernathy is a veteran of the U.S. Army. He also has a lot of state experience, chief of staff for IDEM, and a couple of years as commissioner of the DMV. So we are looking forward to having him as well. I'm not going anywhere to my knowledge, so you're stuck with me. But I'm looking forward to continue to work with this group. I'm thankful to have all of you as partners all these years, and hopefully I'll continue to do that. So. A couple of things, community crossings, as you probably have heard, first call for 2025 is now open. The deadline for that submission of the applications is 4 p.m. Friday, the 31st of January. The good news is that we'll continue that $1.5 million maximum award for 2025, so happy to hear that. And in 2024, just for your information, $340 million statewide matching funds was distributed, so great news for all local communities, and we're glad to see that continuing. A couple other things, Broadway corridor study, so I just kind of want to make everyone aware, there's several folks in this room I know have been involved in the Broadway corridor study. So the last few weeks, we've been sharing some preliminary findings regarding that State Road 53 Broadway corridor study with the officials in Gary and Maryville. NERC staff's also been on hand for that as well, so we thank them. So we are reviewing some proposals for that 9-mile stretch of Broadway between US 1220 that is, and 30. But there's going to be a public involvement process in that, so more to come on that. If you have more questions, feel free to let me know. And the last thing I just want to mention too is that we had some winter weather this week, and it was a little tough out on the roads there. We were out there doing our best. We're only as good as our forecast, but we had a full call out well before the snow started falling. I'm sure your communities were having some challenges in your own right as well. So just know we're out there as best as we can do, pushing that snow and salting everywhere we can. So anybody have any questions at any time, you can always reach me. So thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Matt. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming out. The next item on our agenda is the economy in place, and that would be Denner King with this item on the agenda.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
At their January 8th quarterly meeting, the Economy in Place Committee was provided with housing data, which included information related to wages needed to rent a 2-bedroom home, average median income, and the increased density per acre recommended to meet the projected 2050 housing unit demand. The housing information presented is posted on NERC's website under the Economy in Place Committee section if you wish to view it in detail, and EMAN would be able to answer any questions that you might have related to that. In addition, a preliminary overview of the SEDS, which is the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy. The SWOT analysis was presented. Our consultants at the Purdue Center for Regional Development compiled a summary of the local or regional, state, national, and global concerns under each of the 4 SWOT categories: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. After considering additional information compiled by PCRD, the committee made decisions regarding the industry clusters to be included in the SEDS. The SEDS is to incorporate aspirational clusters such as fintech, quantum communications, decarbonization, energy, and biotech. The SEDS will also contain recommendations related to machinery and primary metals manufacturing, as well as pharmaceutical research and manufacturing. 2 special committee meetings are scheduled for January 29th and February 14th in NERC from 10 to noon. The SEDS goals and the draft SEDS plans will be discussed at those 2 meetings. Can I answer any questions?
I would just note that that SEDS, the deadline for that, this should come back to the executive board in March for final approval, so that's the timeline.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. We appreciate that. Our next item is a presentation from the Executive Director of the Indiana Art Commission, Maya Nicholson. Thank you very much.
As Maya's working her way up, and Laura, I don't know if you're helping her get set up or for her presentation, that's great. I am thrilled that Maya has made the trek up from Indianapolis. This was a special invitation of mine to have her come up, and I'm really grateful that she was able to come. She may talk about this more herself, but without even planning it this way, this synced up with arts and culture activities that are going on with the Ignite the Region project at the forum. Our neighbors here are spearheading, so it worked out really well for her to come up to our neck of the woods. Again, I don't want to take anything away from her, but I placed her under the economy and place section here because we have become, as you know, more and more aware. I feel like I'm stealing her thunder. I probably shouldn't.
That's good. I love it.
We've become more and more aware of the impact of arts on the economy and how important a thriving arts culture is to the health of your communities. And so this is just very, very important, and I'm really grateful that Maya was able to make her trek up, and we're thrilled to have you here today, so thank you.
Thanks so much, Ty. Ty and I kept bumping into each other at AIM events around the state, and finally he said, you know, you need to come up to a NERC meeting. I'm like, yeah, and then it worked out great that the forum is working on the arts and culture plan, so I was able to be up here. So, thanks everybody, so glad to be here. My name is Maya Michelson. I'm the Executive Director of the Indiana Arts Commission, which, like INDOT, is a state agency, but our budget comparatively is tiny.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. That's all good. That's all good. We're all rowing together to make Indiana a better place. So, I am bringing the Dog and Pony show that I affectionately call Why Arts and Creativity Belong in Every Community. So I'm going to blow through this because Ty's giving me a pretty tight timeline, otherwise I'll go for a long time. But I did bring some images, I've got some data to share, and just FYI, I'm happy to share this PowerPoint with you if you think it would be useful to share. I'm also happy to come to your communities, to speak to town councils, to sit down with you as elected officials or planners or so forth, and talk more about how arts and creativity can support your community. So, just wanted to frame that up before I get started. So, why arts and creativity belong in every community? Those of you that travel down south, you may have seen the Putnam County murals down on the silos down in Greencastle. Great placemaking project, and this presentation is sprinkled with images because you can't talk about arts if you don't show some pictures. So, again, we're the Indiana Arts Commission. Our focus is on strengthening Indiana through arts and creativity. We believe communities that are creative, that have arts and cultural amenities, are better places, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm not going to just stand up here and make that claim. I'm going to tell you why that is. This is a recent quote from Michael Hicks, the economist everyone loves to hate, at Ball State, talking about the importance of quality of life. He says, in communities across the Midwest, we found quality of life matters more for population growth, employment growth, and lower poverty rates than quality of business environment. And that can be heresy sometimes. But we stand by it, we believe it. And I'm glad to see that researchers around, not just Indiana, but around the country are coming to that conclusion. What do we mean by quality of life? We mean recreation opportunities, we mean cultural activities, and we also mean excellent services, good schools, transportation options and heard a lot of that conversation already today in the meeting. So you are clearly thinking about that for your community. So we believe arts and culture drive quality of life. Quality of life matters in people's decisions to move or stay someplace, and it drives how attached they feel to where they live. It means stickiness. That may be a term that's familiar with folks, may not be, but the idea of stickiness is people feel attached, not stuck in a bad way, but they feel stickiness. They feel attached to their community. People with access to arts and cultural activities are more attached to their communities in feelings as well as action. When they are more attached to a community, they're more likely to stay there. They're more likely to volunteer, whether that's in arts and cultural organizations or civic groups or other public benefit opportunities. They're more civically engaged. They may run for office. They may be one of those people that shows up at during public comment and gives you, what for on something, but they are more civically engaged. They are also more philanthropic, not just arts and culturally, but kind of across the board. So that's sort of the attachment stickiness piece of it. From the health and well-being perspective, older adults who engage in arts activity experience less loneliness and depression and better well-being. We just completed a groundbreaking study on a program that we call Lifelong Arts for Indiana, which provides arts opportunities for older adults. We brought in the Humanities School of Community and Aging. They did a statistically valid study, and what we found was older adults who participated in ongoing arts activities experienced significantly better mental health overall. And an arts activity, I will tell you, just on an ROI and then also an amount of dollar investment, is much more economical than medical interventions for adults. So we're about to release this research publicly, but we're really excited about what it's telling us about how it supports older adults. What do the arts do for youth? Our youth who have access to arts opportunities consistently are 2 times more likely to graduate from college. They're 5 times less likely to drop out of school. $1 spent on the arts per child saves $9 per year. So arts have a significant impact on the well-being of our youth. What does arts do for local economies? 68% of tourism is driven by arts, heritage, and history. 68%. Then I want to just give you a little picture of some arts and creativity in Indiana's communities. Interestingly enough, a lot of these images, and this is my sort of standard stock, a lot of them are from the northern part of the state, so shout out to you guys. This happens to be in the southern part of the state. This is the Artmobile down in Jeffersonville. This is South Madison Community Foundation, Pendleton Crosswalks Project. Dillsboro, also the Jazz Festival, but southern part of the state, but there's some additional images from the northern part of the state. Peru Visual Arts Festival, great example of engaging young people in art making. Northern Indiana Bluegrass Association, long-time organization that we support, keeping that cultural heritage of bluegrass alive in the state and bringing in younger generations to learn and appreciate it. Fort Wayne storm drain murals. Okay, you want to get a public message across? Think about using art. Much more interesting than a pamphlet you pass out to someone at a meeting. Just again, great example of advancing a public work or a public issue by using the arts. Great example is from Jasper, where our new governor is from. This is the Tim Clark Cultural Center. This is a mixed-use cultural center attached to a public library that has both exhibition, performance opportunities, as well as classes. That's also attached to the community library. And obviously, those of you who are from this area, you recognize this image more than likely. This is the Rensselaer Art Walk. If you've not been to Rensselaer to see these, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal, the quality of this work and just what it has done for Rensselaer as a community related to driving tourism, getting world-class international artists to this part of the state doing these gorgeous murals in Rensselaer. So when I share sort of ideas, I also want to encourage or give communities ways to think about how to get started. You know, maybe if you're from a community that maybe doesn't have much, or you don't see much in the arts and culture, and you'd like to spark some action, here's some things to think about. Think about committing resources for things like arts in your parks, green spaces, farmers markets, grants to support the development of arts organizations and events, a city arts commission. Just sat down with Tipton about this time last year to talk about that, and they're now forming a city arts commission to help drive arts and cultural development in Tipton. Cultural planning, we're going to talk a little bit about that here in a second. Out-of-school arts programs for youth, creative aging programs for older adults, connect with arts organizations in your community. Think about creative-based businesses in your economic development strategy, okay? Every artist who sells something at your farmer's market or at an art fair is a small business, each one of them, okay? And how are you engaged? Are you engaging with them at all? Are you thinking about them as part of your small business development and entrepreneurial strategy? You are not, I bet it. But they are all small businesses. Every gigging band and local musician is a small business. Okay? And they all contribute to your economy. They buy services, they pay taxes, they do the things. Just like the dog groomer or the car wash or whatever. Right? They're all contributing economic value to your community. Think about them as you think about your community-wide economic development strategies around small business. If you only take away one thing, think about that, because they are all over your community. So think about how you can help them. A couple of more ideas. Think about ordinances that support creative efforts such as murals and outdoor performances. Make it easier to do a mural. Make it easier to close a street to do an outdoor festival or a block party or a street dance. You'd be amazed the communities that want to do things and then they go look at their ordinances and they realize that they're making it really hard for those sorts of things to happen. So think about that. Establish processes to make those things more possible. Think about also putting creatives on your city boards and commissions, or ask them to serve on task forces to address issues that aren't necessarily arts related. Because you know what creative people can do? Think creatively, right? If you've got a challenge outside the arts and culture realm, creative person, especially artists in particular, are really used to doing a lot with not much. So that's kind of the way of it, unfortunately. So think about how you could put creative folks, again, on boards and commissions, and also if you've got a community challenge you need addressed, think about putting some creative people there. So what are we bringing to the table? A couple things. First is arts project support, which are support for any kind of arts activity. Towns, schools, libraries, organizations, 501c3s of all types are eligible to apply. Okay? Deadline, got 2 cycles in 2025, which is new for us. We're really excited about that. First deadline is March 4th. Second deadline is September 9th. I'm happy to talk with you offline about if you've got an idea for a project. It could be a pop-up arts festival. It could be just pretty much wherever your imagination takes you as it relates to arts and culture. And again, units of government, schools, libraries, etc., are eligible to apply, and we love it. That's been the biggest area of growth for us over the last few years, is cities and towns applying for this funding. It's $4,000, not a lot, but it's enough to get something started, and no match required. Okay, so we make it easy. We have a new program called Creative Convergence, where we are bringing in community teams to teach them more about how to embed arts and creativity in their communities, and then we follow that training with a $10,000 early action grant. We will be opening that application in 2025, and I'll make sure I share all this info in time so you can put the word out for you guys. That's an example of a project they did in Bedford. They wanted to put more art, sprinkle more art around the city of Bedford, and they repurposed little free libraries into little free art galleries. So you can put a piece in, you can take a piece. They also have art making kits in there and so forth. It's been a great project for the city of Bedford. want to say a couple of words about the Lilly Endowment and Ready and what's happening in the arts and culture space. I know Heather was here a minute ago, and we're working with the Northwest Indiana Forum on arts and cultural planning. Back this time last year, Governor Holcomb announced the largest gift from the Lilly Endowment to the Ready program, $250 million, $185 million of that is for blight reduction, and then $65 million of that is for arts and culture. Okay, biggest single gift for arts and culture in the state's history. And what's happening with those funds right now is we are investing in regional arts and culture planning across the state. And I'm happy to say that Northwest Indiana Forum, as well as NWI, is partnering up with public space projects from Chicago to do a regional arts and culture plan. And Heather asked me to hold this up, so I'm going to do this. Actually, I'll just put it here. How's that? There's a QR code here for you to sign up for information, to participate in the planning meetings, or just otherwise get involved. That planning process is on, in fact, there was the first public meeting was last night up in Gary. There's a meeting, I think, in Michigan City on Friday, and they're going to be in Rensselaer on Saturday. So they're in the process right now of having public conversations about what you want. We've got some mayors that are showing up and letting us know what they want to see in the arts and culture space. But as a result, we will have 15 regional arts and culture plans across the state for each region, which is fantastic. And then regions can apply for to support transformative projects in their region that are arts and culture focused. Okay? So there'll be an opportunity for this region to put forth some projects around arts and culture. But the first step, I think, is to get involved in the arts and culture planning process. So please check that out and keep that close. I'll just share a couple of examples of what we mean by regional arts and culture planning from other states, just for fun. This is the Farm to Art Tour in Wisconsin. They take 15 farms and they do public art installations on those farms, and people travel from all over to see their temporary installations, all kinds of things, and people travel from all over to experience those. The Wallace Simpson Whirligig Park in Wilson, North Carolina, very eccentric artist, made a series of whirligigs, and when he passed away, he left them to the city of Wilson, North Carolina, which didn't know quite what to do with them until they decided they'd put them in a park, and it's become a huge attraction in that part of North Carolina. This is the Blink Festival in Cincinnati. Everybody's been to that. If not, I highly recommend. It's a multi-day outdoor. It's the largest public art event in the U.S. It is all of downtown Cincinnati. All the installations are light or light-based, and it's a pop-up. It's up for 3 days, and then it goes away. So, very cool. I love this. This is the High Trestle Trail Bridge in Iowa, in the middle of kind of nowhere in Iowa, but example, and people come from all over to walk on this bridge and to see it, and I have to share this second image, which is what it looks like at night. I mean, guys, this is not brain surgery. This really isn't brain surgery, okay? But boy, what it has done for that part of Iowa related to getting people there. Talk about Instagrammable moments. Oh my goodness, right? So again, just want to get your creative juices flowing, get your brain going about some things that we're seeing across the country. And then the last one I'll share is the Kentucky Artisan Center at Berea, Kentucky, which again is was a transformative initiative by the state of Kentucky, which has a long craft tradition, to provide, and this is actually a huge attraction for the state of Kentucky, for people to come and experience the craft traditions that are all over the state of Kentucky. So we're here to help. Call on this to strengthen your community through arts and creativity, and that's it. And I'm happy to, again, pass out business cards after and just connect and come to wherever you are, and I'll go anywhere, anytime, talk about anything. So thank you, guys. Any questions? Sure. Yeah.
Now, I used to be on Lake County Solid Waste, and at one time we had recycled art that was on display at South Shore Convention and Visitors
Sure.
Authority.
Yeah.
And Wendy, you have some art structures there. What's that, on 45th? Going towards the airport?
We do. We have public art throughout towns, different sculptures, and
Yeah,
I
I've
think
always
there's
been
about
fascinated with that.
a dozen, 15 of them, and we did a public art project last year, the year before, where we did tulips similar to the cows in
Yes.
Chicago. And we've got a few murals throughout town as well. We have something brewing in 2025, and now I'm seeing I've got an opportunity for $4,000.
Yes.
So I'll be reaching
Yes.
out to you on that.
Awesome.
So, yeah, there's a lot of things. We are an art-focused community.
A question?
Yes.
Would historic buildings be a consideration?
Historic buildings, possibly. Let's sidebar on that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
A lot of arts organizations are in historic buildings, so let's talk. We'll talk about that. Love to learn more about it. Any other questions? Otherwise, I'll hang around for a minute or two after. Yes.
Please don't take this petty. I really mean this in a curious way. The logo for your entity. Why isn't there a dip where Lake Michigan is?
Why is there? You know what? That is a great question, and I'm gonna.
And again, please don't take that in a bad way,
Oh,
but
honey,
just
I was
something
not
that-
there when they
just-
did this.
Oh,
So,
I'm sure,
yeah.
but
I'm not.
Indiana is a Great Lakes state. I mean,
Yeah.
we know this up here better
Yeah.
than anybody.
Yeah.
And the Great Lakes, absolutely. I'm sure it's going to
Yeah.
come up with Ignite the Region.
Yeah.
Need to play a role in the culture and the arts.
I
of our
appreciate
state,
that.
You know.
You know, so let's see, I'll get a better shot of our logo here for a second. So here's the story. We used to have a logo that did not have the state of Indiana on it at all. And the story is, so there maybe slightly better view. The story is that our tag, we had a different logo, didn't have the state profile on it at all, and the tagline was "Imagine That." And the Lottery Commission decided that they wanted to use that tagline, so they said, you need to develop a new logo and a new tagline, and we're going to develop it for you, and we're going to pay for it, and we're just going to give it to you. And so our logo is courtesy of the Lottery Commission. But it's such a great question to ask, because frankly, we call him Art, that little person. And we have great affection for him, but he might be due for a glow up. So your note is an important consideration for his future glow up, or his or her future glow up. Anyway, that's great. I appreciate the point, and I take it. And it gives me more fuel for let's think about regions.
Makes us unique.
Yeah, indeed. Other questions?
Thank you very much.
You are so welcome. That's great.
And I do want to encourage people to attend the open houses. There's one tomorrow night and Saturday, and take a look at the QR code or look at your emails. I'm sure all of you get them from Unite the Region. So it's a good thing for our region to be more arts and culture. Next on our agenda is Mr. Bill Emerson from the Environment Committee. Anything to report?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So the Environment Committee has not met since our last full or executive committee meeting. But I want to thank everyone for being here today. We have a great quorum with members to spare, so hopefully we can keep that going throughout 2025. As we start the new year, if you're interested in water, air, land use, environmental issues, please come out to the Environmental Committee meetings. Our next one is going to be February 6th. It's at 10 a.m. We used to have them at 9 a.m., but we moved it back to 10 a.m. So if you're interested in that stuff, please come out, have input into environmental issues. All the kind of leaders in environmental issues come to that meeting throughout the region. And it's a really great way of input into all the transportation projects and everything like that. So if you want to have an impact on the environment, please come out to our meeting. We'll see you February 6th at 10 a.m. right here. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. We appreciate that. Any other business? Hi, Dave.
Not from me.
All right. Announcements. Bob? Councilmember Bob?
First off, I know Cherville's advertising for them. Town of Porter's advertising for police. And we have an officer that is retiring, and so we're going to have an opening. So anybody that needs to let one of their officers go, we're welcome to accept it. And I also have my town manager, Jeff Bungie, back there, and his administrative assistant turned in her 2-week notice to leave us. So we are desperately looking for a town manager, administrative assistant. I hate to see her go, but she's got other opportunities and she chose to take those.
Very good, thank you, Mr. Kern. Anyone else have anything, any announcements for the good of the order?
Well, since he's talking about losing folks, I'm gaining some folks, but I have some positions that I need to get filled. One in particular is a new director of public works. We haven't had one before, so that has been posted on a couple places. Starting at $125,000. Hey, I ain't trying to steal nobody, but
if we can get it, you'll get it.
You're right. And also, I have posted the planning director position. We're splitting planning out from redevelopment. So those positions are now available and open. So please pass it along.
Thank you, Mayor. All right, very good. Any additional announcements? Hearing none, I will adjourn today's meeting at 10:15. Look forward to seeing the executive board on February 20th. Full board, we sure love having the attendance. So thank you for all for coming today, and we look forward to seeing you all at future meetings. Have a good afternoon and safe travels.